My friends, my lovely friends, welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel. And if you are coming here for the first time because you have just seen this video just for some reason, maybe you saw a link, maybe it was recommended to you by YouTube, maybe it was suggested to you by some system. However you found this video, I welcome you to this channel. Please take a minute and subscribe, because what is going to happen next is going to make you happy. Sawa. Especially if you love motorcycles. It's another episode of so many of them. We have so many videos on this channel covering many different things, all of them about motorcycles and making you a better motorcyclist. And in this episode, I want us to discuss a few things that you need to know before buying your first bike. I know some people are watching this video and they just would want to buy a bike one day. They have never owned a motorcycle. And because of that, I want to do this video for you who have not bought a bike yet, but one day they think they might have some bike. Some things you need to know before you buy your first bike. Buying your first bike is like getting married. You're getting into a world that you do not have any experience, but you have a lot of people around you who are already in that world. So whatever they tell you makes your judgment, because you don't have a history. So you're only thinking about it, you're only reasoning about it, you're only making decisions about it based on what other people are going to tell you. Bikes are good, bikes are dangerous, bikes are expensive, bikes are fun, bikes are this, bikes are that. Same case with marriage. Someone will tell you being married is difficult, being married is fun, being married is beautiful, being married is being a slave. They'll tell you so many things depending on their experience in that field. And people are different. So you need to understand, you are not me and I am not you. So moving forward, having said that, let's now get into the details of what you need to know before you buy your first bike. The question is, why are you buying a motorcycle? Is it out of necessity because that's the only thing you can afford? Maybe you are buying a commuter bike, a very small bike that you can only afford as means of transport. Are you buying a bike because you want to commute to work faster than how you do when you're driving your vehicle? Maybe you have a 4x4, it is consuming a lot of fuel. You want to change and get into something cheaper. Maybe there is a lot of traffic from the route where you stay, where you go to work. A lot of things. Maybe you have some friends who have bikes and now they are pushing you. It is out of peer pressure. You want to buy a motorcycle. Maybe you're buying a bike as some means of earning a living for commercial purposes, maybe for deliveries, maybe for something like that. There is a whole reason why you're buying your bike. It doesn't matter how many other uses you're going to put it through. The fact remains, you're buying a motorcycle for some reason. Okay? For some reason. And this is where it gets tricky. Whatever reason is pushing you to buy a motorcycle should also dictate the type of motorcycle you're buying. For instance, here with me, I have a little sport bike. Yeah, a little sport bike. You cannot buy this one when you want to be in the village to carry stuff, to do deliveries, to carry passengers. This is the wrong bike for you. Okay? It's the wrong bike for you. For whatever reason you want to buy a bike, that is what is going to determine the type of bike you're going to buy. Maybe you have a couple of friends who have off-road bikes. So on weekends when you're not at work, they usually go to Gong Hills, they go to Kajiado, they go to Northeastern, they go to places where they can go and have fun off-road. You're not going to buy this bike and join them. You will not buy this bike and join them. Not this one. So whatever reason you're buying that bike is going to determine the kind of bike you have to buy. You also have to ask yourself, how much are you going to use that bike? If it is for deliveries and going to work, that is a bike you can use every day. So you will also look at how much fuel is that bike consuming, how much is the maintenance cost. Because if you're buying a bike you will be using every day, that only means the mileage for you to service that bike will be coming up very early. Maybe every 2 weeks you need to be in the garage, change oil, change something, depending on how much mileage you are adding per day. But if it is a bike that you only be using over the weekend, sometimes once, twice a month, you don't even care so much about the maintenance cost, because now you'll not have a lot of maintenance to do, especially the normal service, which sometimes becomes very expensive, depending on the bike you buy. So now you have already determined the type of bike you want to buy because of the reason why you're buying it. Now you're looking at the maintenance cost. The other thing you have to look at is the support for that motorcycle. How much support do you have? For instance, if something breaks on this bike, can you be able to replace it? Can you be able to replace something from here locally? Can you be able to replace it locally? Or you will have to import everything from abroad. Wait for a couple of weeks before it arrives here. If it is a bike you're going to be using for the weekend rides, you can import things, keep them at home, or wait for them to arrive as you're riding the bike. By the time you get to that moment you need to change something, it has already arrived. Okay? If you drop this bike for some reason and break something, you can import something and wait for it for a month. You will have no problem. You only sacrifice 1 month, 1 weekend or 2 weekends of riding, and then you get the stuff. But if it is a motorcycle you're using every day to go to work, for deliveries, for commercial purposes, you cannot risk buying a motorcycle that doesn't have local support. Local support is mandatory for that bike. If anything goes wrong with this bike, it should be fixed within the next 12 hours and go back to the highways, because it is a necessity. For someone who is buying just for fun, they can sacrifice the fun for 2 weeks and wait for something to come. But if it is for necessity, you don't even have time to wait. Time to wait is zero. Time to wait is zero. So you must make sure the bike you're buying has local support. Parts are there. There is a shop that sells everything, because you can drop this bike and destroy the brake disc for some reason. You can run out of brake pads without notice. Something can happen and then you realize, oh, I don't have the rear brakes. The master cylinder went bad. Whatever, the crash is slipping off. Something is wrong. And you need to go to work tomorrow. you need to continue doing your deliveries. You cannot afford to import things, wait for them. All those shenanigans will not work in your situation. So you need to understand, why am I buying this bike? If it is for necessity, local support is a must. Maintenance cost is a must. You must do the calculations of maintenance cost. Again, the spare parts, the cost of spare parts, you must check that one. Before you buy that bike, do your research and make sure you understand the amount of money you need to change the brake pads, the amount of money required to change oil, the amount of money required to change plugs. You must do the calculation, because you are going to change these things a lot. You're going to change them a lot. You're going to change them a lot. So you must do the calculation before you buy that bike. Okay? The other thing that you need to check is, how easy it is to maintain that bike and repair something if something goes wrong. If it is for fun ride, once a month, twice a month, you don't care, because you can get the best mechanic. You can call them, they'll tell you, I am busy this week, I can only be available next week. You're going to wait. You're gonna wait. If it is a BMW, a KTM, Ducati, Multistrada, MV Agusta, if these are the kinds of bike you want to buy, you can be very sure you only have like 2 or 3 mechanics in the whole country who understand that bike. And those people can only be booked. For them to serve you, you have to book them, because they are few. So if it is a bike you only be riding twice, 3 times a month, you can book them, and they are going to come to your compound at home or tow the bike to their workshop. Whatever it is, you don't have any reason to be in a hurry. You don't have any reason to be in a hurry. But if it is a necessity bike for commuting to work, for deliveries, for other commercial purposes, you cannot risk having someone to tell you, I am only available next week on Tuesday. That one is going to sound like a disaster to you, because you'll have to pack that bike. You don't have any other means of transport. You don't have means of work. That is going to be a disaster. So you don't want to buy a bike that is complicated, that no one actually understands how it operates. You also have to look at, if something goes wrong in the middle of some jungle, how easy it is to fix something. How easy it is to fix something. If you look at people who go around the world on motorcycles, they always look at a bike they can fix themselves. And they are going to train themselves to fix it until they become specialists in that. If you're riding a BMW R1200 GS, you require to have basic maintenance skills for that bike, because it can break down in a place where you are the only person who understands what the heck you're riding. Everybody else is looking at you like, what is this? This one looks so big. What is it called? And if that is the situation, you can be very sure you're not getting any help. You're not getting any help. So you also have to look at, how easy is that bike to understand, to fix if something goes wrong. Before you get to the workshops, before the mechanic comes all the way 600 kilometers from the capital, how easy is that bike to fix? If the crash cable snaps off, would it be possible to replace that crash cable with any other crash cable you find around, and then you go to the workshop or to the dealership in the city and get it fixed with the right cable? What I'm trying to say is the ease of interchanging parts. Is it a motorcycle that can accommodate parts from another brand? Is it a motorcycle that can accommodate parts from another brand? Because if you run out of brake pads, the shop that sells those brake pads don't have the stock. They are waiting for the stock next week. Can you be able to get another brand of brake pads that can fit there? How easy is it to get an alternative? Okay? How easy is it to get an alternative? The fuel consumption of that motorcycle is very, very important. You don't want to buy a bike for deliveries and it is consuming 20 kilometers per liter. I don't know what you're going to be delivering that is going to cover the cost. Especially if you are in the retail business, I don't see what you're going to be delivering that is going to cover the cost of a motorcycle consuming 20 kilometers per liter. So you have to look at how much fuel that bike is consuming. These are things that you need to check. Something else, as I finish, you have to look at the resale value. How easy is it to sell that motorcycle in case you decide to sell it today? Because things happen in this life that force us to change and get rid of things that we love. Or better still, you can get some little more money and decide this bike is too small for me. It is not carrying whatever I want. It is not accommodating some few things that I want in life. So I want to get rid of it, top up some money and get another bike. If that situation arises, how easy is it to get rid of this bike and get a different one? You also have to look. If you go to the motor vehicle world, there are some vehicles that are known to have very, very low resale values, especially the vehicles from a company called Nissan. Nissan vehicles. They are known globally to have very, very low resale value. The moment you ride that Nissan NP300 double cabin from the showroom at a cost of maybe like $60,000 or maybe $50-something thousand, if you get that vehicle from the dealership and drive it for 200 kilometers from the dealership to your home, decide to sell it, you can be very sure you are going down $3,000 to $4,000 just for driving it for one day. But there are others that people don't even care. Toyotas, people don't care. Yeah. See the Mazdas, people don't care so much. But Nissan, Isuzu, people care so much about resale value. And sometimes it is just psychological. Just psychological. So you have to also look at this bike. If I paid $4,000 for this bike to get it from the dealership, if I decide to sell it 2 weeks later, can it get me at least something close to $4,000? Maybe $3,800, maybe $3,500. But if you try to sell it and it only gives you $2,500, there is no need in buying that motorcycle in the first place, because reasons can arise that will make you want to sell it. And if that happens, you must be able to sell it. You must be able to sell it. And this, you only do it by checking the marketplace from the local website, the country where you are. Just have a look at how that bike behaves in the second-hand market. Second-hand market. Look at how people are posting and selling it. Look at how it is valued when it is second-hand. That one is very important. Look at how it is valued. Because if you're buying it brand new, you can be very sure, even if you sell it 2 kilometers away from dealership, it is second-hand. It is already a used bike. Someone is going to negotiate for a used bike. They don't care whether it is only 3 kilometers old, they negotiate as a used bike. So if it doesn't hold some value in the second-hand market, you have to think twice about buying that bike. Unless you are buying it as treasure for fun ride, you only be using it for 1 month, you may not care so much about the resale value, because you bought it not because of necessity. You have other things that you value, you can just stay with it. You can stay with it. But if you really want to have value for money, you must check at how much it is sold when used. You also have to look at how many people are using that particular motorcycle. In your locality, how many people are using it? What's the feedback? What are they talking about? Reviews. And that's the reason why I started this YouTube channel, Two Wheels Paradise, doing genuine motorcycle reviews. Genuine motorcycle reviews. Every time I get a chance to ride a bike for a while, have some mileage on it, I always tell the story of what I think, what I feel. So that before you buy that bike, you at least just watch one video, 20 minutes video. It can change your whole life. It can save you from trouble. 20 minutes video can save you from trouble. That's why I always try to do videos to safeguard people who are joining the motorcycle community. I don't know whether I have left anything. I do not know how, whether I have left anything out. If you think there is something I have left out, why don't you tell me in the comments? The comment section. Talk to me and tell me, I think you did not discuss this one. I think this one is necessary. I do not know everything. I'm also learning from you people. It is a social media thing for a reason. We have to teach each other. So talk to me in the comments. Let me know what you think. And thank you so much for watching the video up to this point. If you feel there is something I have left out, talk to me in the comments. We can do this video again and again until we make it right, until we cover everything. This is just a part of it. I am ready and willing to do it again if need be. Meshach, Samson, Maina on Facebook. You go to Facebook, Meshach, Samson, Maina, with a very huge page with a lot of followers. Just go there, you talk to me. My contacts are there. If you have something you would want to talk in private, you can contact me. If there is anything you want to know about buying motorcycles locally in Kenya, I am based in Kenya, you can call me, you can message me, you can talk to me. I am going to be of help to you. Thank you so much, and God be with you and keep you safe. Two Wheels Paradise, this is your favorite motorcycle channel. Don't leave before you subscribe, because I value your company. See you around.